I'm Tamara and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to talk to you about the ENFJ and the types they like. And then after that I'm going to share a few tidbits with you about some things about the ENFJ that maybe you know and that maybe you don't know. So let's start with ENFJs liking other ENFJs. Believe it or not, ENFJs usually really like each other a lot. Like they vibe off of each other very well, they get each other, they are amused and intrigued. I think a pitfall could be that sometimes they may be a little bit careful not to step on each other's toes, and they see each other as this person who's a lot of fun. So I think generally they keep it kind of light, but they can go in deep with each other to kind of help each other to get a deeper understanding of some things that maybe they're missing, like in a relationship. They're both going to be very skillful and want to bring out the best in each other and encourage each other's highest potential. And they're going to provide a safe atmosphere to speak their minds and speak their truths. Another type is the INFJ. They are often deeply curious about the INFJ, just delving into their minds. They also enjoy feeling very heard. The INFJ can also go deep enough to give the ENFJ some insight. They can experience a satisfying closeness with each other. ENFJs like the intensity of the INFJ to sort of delve into deeper realms and a deeper thought process than many other people can. They can really help each other with problems and issues that arise and be very good at that. The ENFJ loves the mystery of the INFJ and their psyche. And then finally, the ENFJ can really love the ENTJ. The other thing is the ENFJ loves harmony above a lot of other things. They can really click with each other and really get each other a lot because they're going to be very energetic, very people-oriented. They can both be leaders, they can both take charge of situations, they can both challenge each other and meet each other's challenges and take each other to the next level. They can also really get each other's sense of humor and find themselves cracking up at the same things. But they can also go very deep into their relationship and get a lot of really great satisfaction out of having some of those same letters. It's an advantage because they can understand each other very well, and so they can help each other out of any conflict that may arise, and they can help each other to get out of those spaces. Both of those types like to have things settled, they like having things organized, they like having things planned. The ENFJ will really admire that ENTJ's ability to lead and be very intrigued by their take charge nature. And the ENTJ will be very intrigued by the ENFJ's ability to understand people and relationships and go deeper. They seem to be very impressed by each other's characteristics. I think one of the things about ENFJs is they can really get along with any type because they have this ability to step into the emotions and the feelings and the nuances of other people, but they can still figure out a way to get along with people and really click. So I think that's one of the special gifts about the ENFJ. They can become this blank wall that people start to project on, but the ENFJs can be perplexed by people because people can get into a lane of thinking that the ENFJ is so perfect and you don't make any mistakes or you've got everything going for you, and it can sort of be this mirror for other types of what they don't have going right or their own frustrations, and they sort of project that onto the ENFJ like a blank wall. So what ENFJs need to understand is it's not you, it's that person has their own insecurities, doubts, and maybe something that you said or maybe something that you're doing that's really positive is a trigger for that person. And so they start acting out on you because you tend to be this safe place. But the problem with an ENFJ is they don't take that very kindly. They don't take that very lightly because they're spending so much energy being nice to people even when they're not feeling like being nice to people. They have very strong boundaries and strong standards. If you ask an ENFJ, why are you so nice to me? Their answer might be, because you're so nice to me. They might be one of the worst people to get into an argument with because they're going to know what your weaknesses are. They're going to know your flaws. They're going to know your psyche better than you know your psyche. And remember, they also have that EJ thing going on. So they're actually have a dominating personality. They know how to avoid a lot of conflict because they understand people. A lot of things they will let go because they want harmony. They do have a very big ego, and I think that's something that is a frustration for ENFJs. Is I think people see them as very nice, very kind. They will often get, you're such a nice person. They see themselves as very multi-layered, and they are probably one of the most complex types. They see themselves as sort of this flower with many layers that need to be uncovered. One of the fun things about being an ENFJ is getting to have that big variety of friendships is greatly and deeply satisfying for them because they get to exercise all the different components and layers of who they are. So if you're in a relationship with an ENFJ, you really get a special treat because you can really go deep with them and really discover a lot of things about yourself. ENFJs are extremely intuitive. And I think it's so funny because I think INFJs often get so much credit for their NI, but ENFJs NI works very powerfully, very strongly. And the other advantage that they have is because they are extroverted feelings. That extroverted feeling almost has sensors on it. So it's actually picking up a lot of things. It's not just showing you this, hi, you know, this nice side that's getting you at your core and knows how to operate with you. It's also like these tentacles, these feelers that are picking up on tons of information about you. That introverted intuition is so hidden, so private, and it's irritating and annoying to an ENFJ because they can't always show you. They want to say, hello, I see your manipulations, I know what you're doing, or hey, stop, don't do that. It's very powerful. They are so walking inside your head. Depending on the mode that an ENFJ is in, they can be a little intimidating sometimes because they're gonna want to know more about you. So sometimes you might get met with, hey, tell me about you, or what's that, you know, what's that about, or why would you do something like that, or what made you make that decision? Something about your nature is telling them information. They're piecing so many things together about you, and because they have that extroverted feeling that's like, wow, it's like wanting to like engage. The ENFJ may sometimes appear to be letting you be who you are, but they're kind of not. They are picking up on so many things that they're gonna start shaping and molding you and helping you to get to a level that maybe you wouldn't have. Or let's say you're in a bad relationship, that ENFJ is going to give you the strength to pull out of it. It might take time, but they're gonna get into the head of that person that you're with, and they're gonna start piecing together things for you that you may not have the ability to pick up on. So ENFJs are very complex. They are extremely intuitive. They know whether you're trying to hide things, you're not hiding things. They have this sort of knowing about you, and they can also tap into some psychic abilities. And I think they're actually more aware a lot of times of their abilities to pick up on things, but some of them may not practice it as much as others. They may second guess it because maybe they hit on something and somebody convinces them that, oh no, that's not true. And so they're kind of like, okay, I'll trust you. When really they are picking up on some things. So ENFJs actually do have a lot of rules about what's appropriate, what's not, how they live their lives, how they don't. Blank wall number 2 would be, in some settings, they can appear to be very stoic. I think of all the NF types, sometimes they don't show their NFness, it's hidden. Sometimes they can appear to be way more serious than they actually are. Sometimes they may not show that emotion. It's kind of weird, but it's one of the complexities about ENFJs. And I'll give you an example of that. Barack Obama is an ENFJ, and they even say that Jesus was an ENFJ, which is like, wow, profoundly fascinating. I've seen President Obama being told that he was emotionless like this. He said, actually, I feel extremely deeply and compassionate for people. So it's weird that ENFJs can extrovert their feeling, but they can also completely hide it and seem more like a blank wall. And that is so far from the case. An ENFJ feels too deeply about people. It can mess with their internal happiness. I think ENFJs have to be sort of careful because they can be very much chameleon-like. They can start picking up on phrases that other people use without trying to, and they can become whoever they're with in some ways because they're picking up so strongly. They can start to mimic that person's attributes, or they can deeply admire people and be intrigued by people, but they can start sort of picking up their mannerisms and copying them subconsciously. But sometimes they can get into people's lives so deeply that they're not as into their own as they need to be, and they can become very, very worn out. ENFJs, if you go into a depressed state, that depression can be horrible because you can go into such a deep, dark place because in that introverted intuition allows them into the psyche and a knowingness. They know their own nuances, and that can be hard to get out of. Sometimes they can go into that deep, dark place with too much time alone. Some ENFJs may avoid that by being busy, being around other people. So on one hand, they need some time alone to really sort out their own junk, their own stuff, their own issues and problems. They can forget about their own and what they like and what they want and what they need. They can sort of forsake their own needs for the needs of other people and be truly okay. And other types don't relate to that very well. They can also go into a place where their minds are way overactive. You're spending hours picking apart what someone said or what did they mean by that. You could be watching TV, picking up on all these things that nobody else would notice or pick up on, and then you start doing these mental exercises. It's like sport. But sometimes that can be so draining because you can stay on a thought for way too long. But the ENFJ is a very intense person, so don't let the friendliness or the social, it can be a lot of fun, don't let that fool you. The final thing I want to say is I'm an ENFJ. So I'm going to put the link to my other video below so that you can check out my first ENFJ video. We can be incredibly funny sometimes. We can be comedians. It's like really weird. We get with the right type, like a good ESFP. Anyway, I hope you've really enjoyed my video. Please give me a thumbs up if you like it. Make sure you subscribe and share it with other people. And see you on the next video. Bye.